Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. It's quiet. Maybe 2 a.m., maybe later. And their mind has drifted, uninvited, to you. Not because they chose to think about you, not because something reminded them, but because the brain, left alone in the dark, goes back to what it hasn't finished processing. And apparently, it hasn't finished processing you. This video is about what actually happens, scientifically, psychologically, neurologically, when someone can't stop replaying the moments they had with you. Because this isn't just emotional. This isn't just missing someone. What's happening inside the brain of a person who's far away from you, replaying every moment you shared, is one of the most fascinating and least talked about things in all of human psychology. And by the end of this, you'll understand it in a way that will change how you see every relationship you've ever had. Let's start with something that might surprise you. The memories aren't being replayed consciously. Not at first. Scientists at the National Institutes of Health discovered something extraordinary when they monitored the electrical activity of thousands of individual brain cells in real time. They found that the neural firing patterns from when a memory was first formed, the exact same patterns, are replayed fractions of a second before the person even consciously remembers anything. Think about what that means. The brain is queuing up the memory before you ask for it. It's like a record player that starts spinning the needle before you've even reached for the vinyl. The brain hears something, feels something, senses a gap. And before you're aware of it, before it reaches your conscious mind, it has already begun the replay. You don't decide to think about them. The memory arrives, and then you notice it's already there. That's not weakness. That's not obsession. That's how you're wired. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Every night, while you sleep, while the person far away from you sleeps, their brain is doing something they have absolutely no control over. It's replaying your moments together. Not metaphorically, literally, electrically. During slow-wave sleep, the hippocampus, the brain's memory center, sends sharp electrical ripples to the cortex, in a process researchers believe is memories being transferred into long-term storage. Harvard neuroscientists have described this as a precise triad. The cortex, the thalamus, and the hippocampus, firing in sequence, together, like a relay, passing the experience deeper and deeper into the architecture of who we are. Every night, automatically, without permission, the moments you shared with someone aren't just in their head while they're awake. They're being reinforced, structurally, while they sleep. Your memories together are being built into them. But here's the part nobody tells you. The brain doesn't replay all memories equally. You might assume the biggest, most vivid moments get the most replay. The dramatic night, the long conversation, the fight that changed everything. But research out of Harvard and Princeton tells a different story. The hippocampus actually prioritizes the memories that were never fully processed, the moments that felt incomplete, the interactions that were cut short, the conversations that ended before they should have, the goodbye that didn't feel like a real goodbye. Those are the ones that get replayed the most. Not because they were the best moments, because the brain doesn't know what to do with them yet. Unfinished things haunt us more than finished things. And the people who left before the story felt complete, they get replayed on the heaviest rotation of all. Now let's talk about what happens when someone tries to stop replaying you. Because they do try. Of course they do. They tell themselves, stop thinking about them. It's over. Move on. Let it go. And that's where psychology gets cruel. In the 1980s, a researcher named Daniel Wegner ran a now famous experiment. He told participants to do one simple thing. For the next 5 minutes, do not think about a white bear. Try not to think about it. Whatever you do, don't let it into your mind. What happened was the opposite of what anyone wanted. The more people tried to suppress the thought, the more it flooded back. Wegner called this ironic process theory. And here's why it works the way it does. When you try to suppress a thought, your brain does two things simultaneously. First, it launches a conscious process, reaching for distractions, thinking about other things, filling the mind with anything else. But second, and this is the part that undoes you, it launches an unconscious monitoring process. A quiet, constant background scan, checking, are we still thinking about the thing we're not supposed to be thinking about? And that monitoring process keeps the thought alive. It has to hold the forbidden thing in mind, just to check for it. So the harder someone tries to forget you, the more their brain is actively, relentlessly scanning for you. You're not gone from their mind. You're being searched for, over and over, beneath the surface. And then, night comes, and things get worse for them. Because research shows that REM sleep, the deep dream state, actually disables the conscious suppression process. The part of the brain that was working to push you out goes quiet during sleep. But the unconscious monitoring process, the one that keeps scanning for you, that one stays on. This is why people dream about someone they've been desperately trying not to think about. It's not irony. It's not the universe sending a message. It's neuroscience. The gatekeeper falls asleep. The memory walks right through. So the person far away from you is caught in something they didn't choose and can't control. Their brain is replaying your moments before they're even conscious of it. Their brain is reinforcing those memories while they sleep. Their brain is making them think of you more every time they try to think of you less. And they're lying there at 2 a.m., wondering why they can't just move on. The answer is, because you were never just a thought. You became a pattern, a neural signature, a groove in the record that the needle keeps finding. Now, let's talk about what they're actually replaying, because this is where it gets beautiful and a little heartbreaking. What they remember about you is not what actually happened. I don't say that to be harsh. I say it because the science is extraordinary. There's a phenomenon in cognitive psychology called rosy retrospection. When we experience something, the brain encodes the positive and negative emotions separately, using different systems, different regions. And during consolidation, the hippocampus partners with the amygdala to give preferential treatment to positive memories. The good moments get stored first, stored stronger, and retrieved more easily. The hard moments, the friction, the boredom, the small cruelties, the ordinary Tuesday afternoons that weren't anything special, those fade. What remains is a curated version of you. A version of the time you spent together that is, almost certainly, better than what it actually was. And over time, this is the part that changes everything. Over time, rosy retrospection gets stronger, not weaker. The further they are from you, the more the highlight reel dominates. The version of you that exists in the mind of someone far away is not you. It's the best version of what they remember. And it grows more luminous with every passing month. Think about what that means for a moment. Right now, someone far away is replaying you. But they're not replaying the real you. They're replaying a version of you that is warmer, softer, funnier, more present than either of you probably were on an average day. They're replaying a version of the time you shared that has been unconsciously stripped of the mundane, the difficult, the ordinary. They're sitting with a memory of someone who in some ways never quite existed. And they miss that person with everything they have. There's another layer here that most people never think about. When something painful ends, a friendship, a love, a period of closeness, the brain doesn't just miss the person. It doesn't just mourn the relationship. It launches an investigation. The mind replays specific moments, the way a detective returns to a crime scene. Not to feel the pain again, though that happens too, but to understand, to find the answer, to figure out when it changed, what was said that shouldn't have been said, what could have been done differently. This gives the brain the illusion of control. If I can find the moment it went wrong, maybe I can fix it. Maybe I can prevent it. Maybe the story isn't over. Each replay deepens the groove. Each attempt at analysis makes the memory more central, not less. The brain isn't giving up on you. It's treating you like an unsolved equation, and it won't stop running the numbers until it finds an answer that doesn't exist. And here's something that most psychology videos will never say out loud. That rumination, that loop, that mental replay doesn't help. Research backed by the NIH is clear on this. Going over the same thoughts in circles doesn't solve the emotional problem. It deepens it. It reinforces the neural groove. It makes the low mood lower. But people do it anyway, not because they're broken, but because stopping feels like giving up. Replaying the moments you had with someone is on some level a way of staying close to them, a way of keeping the relationship alive in the only space where it still exists, the mind. To stop replaying is to accept the distance, and the brain resists that the way it resists any loss. Now let's talk about something that rarely gets mentioned when we talk about missing someone, the physical dimension. Because this isn't just happening in someone's thoughts. When someone misses you deeply, when your absence becomes a constant background presence in their life, their body starts to respond the way it responds to a low-grade threat. Restlessness, an inability to settle. Insomnia, because the mind is too preoccupied to release into sleep. A racing heart, tightness in the chest, stomach issues, nausea, digestive disruption. The body doesn't distinguish between emotional pain and physical danger. The absence of someone who has been coded into your nervous system as safe, familiar, important, registers as a kind of alert. The system keeps scanning for them. The system keeps expecting them to return. Missing someone at a biological level is the body searching for something it believes it needs. And there's one more thing happening that most people never consider. There's a concept in developmental psychology called object constancy. It's the emotional capacity, built in infancy, to hold the feeling of being loved by someone, even when they're not physically present. To know at a deep level that the connection persists across distance. Psychologists have found that many adults never fully developed this capacity. And so when someone they're attached to is far away, truly far away, with days or weeks between communication, the older, more primitive part of the brain interprets that distance as threat, as abandonment, as the relationship becoming unreal. And so the mind reaches for what it has. The memories. Every replay is on some level proof. Proof that it was real, proof that it mattered, proof that the connection existed, even if it exists now only in the mind. Replaying your moments isn't just missing you. It's insisting on you. Let me bring this together now. Right now, somewhere, possibly in a different time zone, possibly in a city you've never been to, possibly in a room that looks nothing like anything you've ever imagined. Someone is lying still. Maybe they've just woken up at an hour when the world is quiet. Maybe they're just about to fall asleep. And without choosing to, without meaning to, without being able to stop it, their brain is firing the same neural patterns it fired the first time they experienced something with you. Fractions of a second before they're even aware of it. The memory arrives fully formed. Your voice, the way you were standing, the light in the room, something you said that they've turned over 100 times since. And for a moment, for the length of a breath, you are not far away. As vivid as a groove on a record, being played in a room no one else can enter. The science tells us that the people we love, the people who matter, the people whose absence leaves a shape in the air, don't just live in our hearts. They live in our neurons, in the firing patterns of cells that learned the shape of a person and will not unlearn it easily. In dreams we didn't write. In memories that are warmer than the truth, in a quiet 2 a.m. search that never quite ends. You may be far away from someone right now, and you may wonder if they think of you. They do. Not because they want to, not because they've decided to, but because you are wired into them in the most literal sense that science has discovered. And somewhere tonight, In the dark, the replay begins.